Come on into the ditch. I'm your resident ditch witch, Tara Tyne, and we're about to get witchy, whether you like it or not. So as I'm drawing to the end of my first week here in Anton Arts Centre Dundalk, studying Anton Bóculne, I have some more secret information that I haven't been able to divulge for a while now because of reasons. So we'll go into that very shortly, but today's video is actually also sponsored by me. I finally got them memberships up and running. Okay, I've been tipping away at it the last while and designing custom emojis and all of that kind of thing just for you, my members, potential members, members to be, and here they are. Tier number 1 is Baltana. For €3 per month you can get these custom emojis which I have designed myself. You get your loyalty badge which changes the longer you have been a member, and you also get a personalized thank you and welcome from me at the start of the next video I record after you sign up to be a member. The next tier up, Lunasa, is €9.99 per month, and for that you get a bit more. You get exclusive photo and status updates, as well as exclusive members only video. And if you've been watching out for doing the read along of Anton Bóculne with me, this is the one you want, because I will put my read-alongs out as members only video, and that's where we're just gonna read through, do a bit of analysis, a bit of opinionating and all of that kind of thing. It's basically part of my creative process of getting down to the nuts and bolts behind the Anton Bóculne. On this Lunasa level, you will also get exclusive updates on behind the scenes stuff and other projects that I'm working on. So you know yourself, I have a lot of stuff going on on the side that isn't necessarily Ditch Witch related and doesn't necessarily fit on the channel. But some of it's really cool and I need someone to tell. So if you want to hear all about it, consider the Lunasa level. You also get priority reply in the comments at this level because, as you can see yourself, things are starting to just bubble over a little bit on the busyness front. I have a lot going on, I usually do, and I can't always get back to everyone, but those with membership badges by their names will not be passed over. And also I have the 7 tier for €24.99 per month. You get all of the perks from the previous tiers, as well as a mention in the end credits of my videos. You will also get discounts off any merchandise I put out, and I do have some very exciting pieces that I've been tipping away at the last while. I may have been custom designing things with an actual pencil and paper, so if you'd like to be the first to hear about that and to get discounts on it, 7 level is the one you're looking for. I will also be asking you to take part in members only polls to decide on content and that kind of thing. And finally, the most exciting part is members only live chats. So that means we'll actually be able to chat. I'm not 100% sure what way it works, but I think it's like I go onto YouTube and do a live chat, having the crack, maybe having a hot whiskey or a nice bun or whatever mood takes me, and you get to be there talking to me in real time. I think it's in the comment thread, I'm not too sure. I haven't done a live stream on YouTube before, so we'll learn together. But if you want to be there figuring that out with me, 7 level is the one you're looking for. And for people who don't want to or aren't in a position to sign up to memberships, don't worry, absolutely nothing as far as the channel is concerned will change for you. You still get to watch all of the videos that I'm planning on putting up anyway. It's just that for the people who are really into it, it's like a little bit extra. And you know me. What good is an adventure if you can't bring some friends along, you know? And I really appreciate everybody who watches from week to week and shares with friends and leaves me a wee comment. I really love that. I'm so grateful to all of you. So don't worry about the memberships. If it's not for you, that's 100%. I'm gonna stop banging on about it now because we have actual video content to get on to today. By the way, I also realized this week that my residency here is going literally from the eve of Imbolg until the eve of Baltana. I did obviously have a hand in choosing the dates, but I wasn't thinking Imbolg to Baltana. I just kind of thought I'd better get my residency done before I have to move house. But that's a bit of crack for another day. So Game of Thrones, yes! I haven't been able to tell you about this because I did get a sneak preview of the new studio tour that has just opened up in Banbridge in the Linen Mill Studios. A friend of mine is working there and I got the offer to come and basically beta test the tour, and so myself and Dave went along. The catch was that I wasn't allowed to film it or actually talk about it at all until it was open to the general public. And that was fine by me. We had a great day out, and since the tour is actually opening up today, it's safe to talk about it with you now. So I want to just do a little review of this very interesting day trip that is on offer to you if you come and visit Northern Ireland, or if you live here, like a lot of us do. So unless you're a massive fan of the show or you are actually living in Northern Ireland, you may not know that like 80% of Game of Thrones was filmed there. The producers mentioned that they had access to a lot of different kinds of scenery which suited the different worlds that they were filming in, all within like an hour and 15 minutes of Belfast city centre, which was where a lot of the cast and crew were based out of. I haven't yet gone and done any of the tours of the castle shooting locations and things like that, but I did think that this tour of Linen Mill Studios was fantastic actually. It was a really great behind the scenes of how the show was put together, and there was a lot of little nuggets in there that weren't even included in the making of documentaries. So if you're into Game of Thrones, are you going to want to part with the £40 price tag for the ticket? Well, that is a very good question, and one that warrants examination. On the day, we got free access. There's a shuttle bus which brings you there. It was like really efficient. Everything ran really smoothly. We were allowed to eat for free in the cafe and the restaurant there to try everything. We were told that we were being photographed by professional photographers, and there were some like digital photo booths, interactive things set up, but myself and Dave did also kind of feel like we were being secretly recorded the whole time. But once you kind of know that going in, it gets a little bit less creepy as you go. But maybe we weren't, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. Opinion is just my opinion. And they have huge chunks of the actual set there, like the room from Dragonstone is set up, and the map table, and you get to find out how bloody awkward it was to shoot around that thing. And you know, the throne is there, and they've got the whole destroyed throne room, and Cersei and Jaime's wax corpses, which are freakishly lifelike, by the way. Like, it's scary, the detail on those. And the White Walkers, and you get to see the prosthetics. They've like just a chunk of the prosthetics studio just kind of set up in situ for you to see some of the pieces, some of the methods and the materials that they used. And they've gone into detail on a lot of different aspects of the show like that. You know, there's a whole section for Ramin Djawadi and how he came up with the music for the show and how it was produced. You find out how dynamic the set was on being able to move parts around and change the setup depending on their needs for that particular shoot. They actually have a lot of the props which I don't even think were used in Northern Ireland. Some of it does definitely give vibes of we had a warehouse full of Game of Thrones props that we didn't know what to do with them, so we just kind of opened the doors and called it a museum, which, if that's what you're into, if you're into the behind the scenes stuff, you're into film production, you're into costuming, special effects, you know, special effects makeup, any of that kind of thing, this really is the place for you. You're gonna want to go and check it out. And in fairness, I know I said the price tag was pretty steep, but you kind of get lost in it. Like, myself and Dave spent 4 or 5 hours there and we didn't really intend to. I kind of thought to myself, we'll do a lap, we'll do the once around, have a quick look. To be honest, it was still kind of painful because I am one of those people who was horribly disappointed by the ending of the series. And I can't help but wonder if that isn't like most of us. But maybe it won't put people off visiting, and I hope it doesn't, to be honest, because it is like a museum to what I believe is by far the most expensive television production of all time. I'm pretty sure they broke all kinds of records with the way that they did things, and they had to pioneer stuff, and it truly is fascinating. And you get to take your picture beside, you know, those stone statues which were made for the trailer of the last season, which I believe never actually appear in the TV show, by the way. No, they don't. Like Sansa's stone sculpture for the crypts and Jon Snow's, they never appeared in the series, but they were made for the trailers, and they're there, and you can get a selfie taken with them. Again, we couldn't do it on the day, we weren't allowed to photograph anything, but if you go now, I think those are one of the things that you're allowed to sort of put your arm around and get a photo. Most of the exhibits actually you're not allowed to touch, and that's because, you know, you've got all the costumes there. And I'm not gonna lie, I probably spent more time looking at the costumes and the weaponry than anything else. Like, there's such detail and thought put into both. A lot of the damask fabrics and things like that they used would have actually been sourced from Northern Ireland. Think back real hard to a previous guest of mine in a previous video whose parents owned a linen mill. I'm pretty sure it was mentioned in the video. He just didn't say who the high profile client was. Yes, Game of Thrones. I mean, for costume making, oh, mwah. It's actually, even if you go to like the National Museum of Ireland, you're not going to see the demonstrations of historical techniques and styles there, even though it's a much bigger museum, but it doesn't have a massive amount of fashion in it, whereas the Game of Thrones studio tour has a large predominance of fashion. And a lot of the costumes, whilst they weren't trying to be historically accurate, because it is a fantasy show based in a fantasy world, they still wanted to give it the feel that it was the time of kings and queens, and the costume designers knew an awful lot more about historical costuming than you might immediately be inclined to think. I particularly enjoyed seeing a lot of stuff from the wall, actually. I found, you know, the sets from Castle Black and things like that, you sort of just walk in and you're kind of in the middle of them, and it's a bit eerie and a wee bit disorientating. And then they also have the Great Hall from Winterfell as well, which is really cool. We spent quite a lot of time just trying to picture where the most commonly used camera angles actually were and that kind of thing, because we are quite geeky about TV production, film production. We like to know the trivia, we like to have the inside scoop. And one of the great things about the tour is that a lot of the tour guides working on it actually were involved in the making of Game of Thrones. You've got extras and people who worked in different departments, so they get rotated as well the whole time, so you can basically talk to them all and hoover up their collective knowledge so you can fully achieve super geek status. One thing that did slightly kind of freak me out was when we went to the restaurant to get our free meal, by the way, so I'm not going to complain. Everything was done like digitally, automatically with your phone, which is really good for COVID because it cuts down on contact, probably. But for people like me who need to use a lot of brain power in order to do the most basic tech stuff, I probably would have found that really stressful if Dave hadn't just taken care of it. And probably even more stressful again if I had been paying full buck for the meal. Now, I really enjoyed my food, I came away full. Mine was pretty good value for money. Dave didn't really like his and didn't think the portion was big enough and that kind of thing, so he wouldn't have been happy if we had been paying full whack for the meal. So it's 50-50, you know, it's probably down to individual taste and appetite as well. So after all of that, what would I rate the Game of Thrones studio tour at Linen Mill Studio in Banbridge? I would probably give it a 7 on the fun things to do on a day out in Northern Ireland scale. And you know, I am probably being extra harsh on it because I'm just aware that there are so many fun and interesting things to do for free in Northern Ireland or for a very low cost. So expecting people to pay that kind of money, they're going to really want to be entertained. And as far as entertainment value goes, first of all, if you're not a fan of the show and you're not particularly into, you know, behind the scenes of TV and film production, I feel like there's a good chance you're going to be watching the clock for home time. Maybe you'll get something from the costumes. The interactive features will probably keep you entertained for about 4.5 minutes. The sets that are there are really, really cool. There's also great access. There's nothing that I noticed that would exclude anybody from doing it. I suppose you need to have your own transport just to get to the car park where the shuttle bus takes off from, which is outside of Banbridge town. So apart from that, it seemed to be pretty inclusive of everybody. And you know, you get to take your picture in a replica of the throne and things like that. It's quite cool. It's a good day out. It's interesting to see, and the staff especially are really knowledgeable. I think it's a real plus that they've decided to take on people who worked on the show as their staff. First of all, it's keeping them employed after that shutdown, and second of all, they're obviously the ones you want to talk to about what went on during filming. 6 months of darkness. Okay, that took its toll, and I wanted to know all about it. And obviously I'm deducting marks off that for the cost and for potential lack of appeal to anyone who isn't, as I say, really into the kind of content that they have there. I wish them luck getting the over 500,000 visitors that they hope to get every year. Maybe if they'd opened it 2 years ago when they originally planned to, I know there was a whole thing there that they couldn't until this year, but you know, we can't overlook the fact that a lot of the fans were extremely dissatisfied with the way the show turned out. And I'm not gonna lie, walking through it did bring back some painful memories of how that actually went down. So there's that. Maybe if they'd had the extra 2 years under their belt and they were starting a little bit closer to the end of the series, you know, you might have got some people just going out of rage to give out about it. From what I know though, there is a prequel in the works, which is due to be coming out sometime soon. I think one project managed to make it through, House of Dragons, I think it's called, set 200 years before the Game of Thrones saga. I can't wait for that to come out. I mean, reading on Ton Bo Cúailnge, like, it's a pretty high bar that I've set now for my content, so I hope they do well with that. Really, I just want Martin to finish the bloody books already, oh my god. So if there's still a tiny little part of you still hoping and dreaming and thinking back to better days, then you might want to go. You might get some enjoyment and comfort out of it, or it might be flashbacks to just burn them all, I don't know. Anyway, that's it for today. I gotta go, I'm under time pressure. So hit subscribe for more fun and witchy adventures, as well as some Ton related crack. I upload 2 to 3 times per week and you're not gonna wanna miss it. Slán agus banat, goodbye and good luck to you.